You're ready? We will call the,
Yeah, I'm here.
thank you, sir. We will call the regular Erie County Council meeting to order for June 8th, 2021. Will everyone please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Showerman, would you lead us in the prayer for today, please?
Yes, this comes from the electronic signature from my appointment this evening. She has it on the end of her email. And it's, Christ has no body but yours, no hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes with which he looks with compassion on this world. Yours are the feet with which he walks to do good. Yours are the hands with which he blesses all the world. Yours are the hands, yours are the feet, yours are the eyes, you are his body.
Thank you for that. Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Clear,
Here.
Mr. Horton,
here,
Mr. Rastetter,
Here.
Mrs. Rennie,
Here.
Mrs. Showerman,
Here,
Mr. Shank,
Here.
Chairman Anderson.
Here. At each meeting, we have a hearing of the public. For those who call in and get on the agenda, we give 5 minutes. This week, nobody has called in to be on the agenda. So if there is anyone here from the public that wishes to speak, we will give you 3 minutes. And I don't see anybody in the chat who has asked to be recognized, but I will ask, are there any members of the public that wish to be heard? Any members of the public that wish to be heard? And finally, any members of the public that wish to be heard? Seeing none, we'll continue to move forward in our meeting. And next on our agenda is the approval from the minutes of the May 25th regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councilman Shank, seconded
Second.
by Councilwoman Showerman. Are there any questions or comments from members of council? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote on the minutes, please?
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
yes,
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes,
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Thank you. Next is reports from the county executive and or their designee. Tonight, the county executive is with us and would like to give a report. Madam County Executive Dahlkamper, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I wanted to report some very good news again for our community and for our county government. This year, Erie County programs within county government have won 7 national awards from the National Association of Counties. This is the 5th consecutive year that the county government has received these achievement awards. And out of the 8 in Pennsylvania for 2021, 7 of those are from Erie County. We, in the last 5 years, have had 33 achievement awards from NACO. And I think all of us should be very proud of the work being done in this community, supported by County Council and by the administration. Just to give you a quick rundown of these 7 awards. The first was for the Fire and EMS Recruitment and Retention Committee. That's Erie County Department of Safety has going. The Blue Zones in the Workplace for the County of Erie. Mission, create an operate an isolation and quarantine shelter that was put forward by the Erie County Department of Health from the COVID-19 pandemic. Number 4 was implementation of a 24/7 drug and alcohol screening services to assist individuals in need by the Erie County Department of Drug and Alcohol. Number 5 is carrying on embedded librarians during pandemic times. And that, of course, is by our Erie County Public Library. Number 6, thinking outside the walls, take home book box program, also by the Erie County Public Library. And number 7 is the Leadership Academy awarded to the Erie County Department of Human Resources for the Leadership Academy that they have now started for people that move into managerial and supervisory roles within our employ. So again, just wanted to give you the good news that we continue to be recognized nationally for the achievements made by so many of our different departments in county government. And just wanted to pass that along to each one of you. And lastly, I just wanted to thank the members of County Council who could come today and listen to the Blue Zone expansion presentation. Chairman Anderson, Vice Chair Clear, Councilman Horton, and Councilman Rastetter. I'm not sure if anyone else was there, but that's who I saw in the audience. And if anyone else was there on electronically, thank you so much. And there, I believe, will be a recording. So if anyone wants to hear what was said today, we can probably pass that on to you. So thank you very much for your participation in what we hope to will be a Blue Zone expansion further in the county outside of Corry. And that's all for me. Thank you, Chairman Anderson.
Thank you, Madam County Executive, and congratulations to you and your administration on the awards. I have had the opportunity to be at the NACO conference, as well as I know that you have. And it's quite an honor when the Erie County is called to get the awards. I believe it's 3,322 counties nationwide, or something in that range. And for Erie County to be recognized on 7 of those awards is no small feat. And for all of the employees of Erie County, it's just one more example of their commitment to this community. And please send our congratulations to all of them.
I will. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks for being with us tonight. Next up is a report from Finance Chairwoman Kim Clear. Madam Chair, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The Finance Department, our committee, met on Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. And tonight we will be submitting to the agenda old business items A through D and new items A through D and F through K. Thank you very much. That concludes my
Report.
Sorry, I just lost it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. We know you were going to say finance report, and then you didn't know whether you should abbreviate it, but that's okay. Thank you. And thank you for that report. Next on our agenda, we have the Personnel Committee and Personnel Chairwoman Mary Rennie to give us a report. Chairwoman Rennie, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Personnel Committee also met on Thursday, June 3rd, and I would like to submit to tonight's agenda old business E and F and new business item E. That concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairwoman Rennie. Next are reports of members of council. And we do have a report from the election board and the election board chairwoman, Mary Rennie. Please go ahead with your report from the election board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Board of Elections met this morning to certify the results of the Erie County primary election. The results speak for themselves. I don't think I need to comment on them. They are the will of the voters, something that we all must abide by and respect, and we do that. It's also an opportunity to thank and recognize people for a job well done, and that is the Office of Elections and County Council office headed by Doug Smith for the exemplary job that they do every year. And every year it seems to get more demanding. They are, as the County Commissioners Association stated recently, they are stewards of democracy, and that is no small role. In fact, I think I would say that the weight of that responsibility, it weighs more heavily with each passing election, it seems to me. This is also a chance for us to report on the process in Erie County. It's a report on the health of the process and the functionality of it. We look at what went right, we look at what went wrong, and we make recommendations for what we intend to change in that process. It's a time for planning for the next election, and it's constantly ongoing. We also passed resolution number 2 as part of today's process, which is the urging of the General Assembly and the governor to implement election changes before the November election. And this, I want to take a special moment to emphasize the need for this. Our legislators have many election-related concerns, and we understand that. The many issues associated with accessibility and security cannot and should not be ignored. However, they cannot and should not prevent the General Assembly from taking action on some critically needed items. The County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania made some very common sense recommendations in support of the sustainability of our elections and our voting. And we are urging our own local legislators to take a leadership role in that effort. The sustainability of the election voting process is at stake. And we need to have action before the November election so that the process runs smoothly and that it comes to a reasonable conclusion after the election. The election code as it presently is out of step with the changes that were enacted in 2018. And so we are asking the General Assembly to take those recommendations made by CCAP, which, by the way, will ultimately save counties throughout Pennsylvania money, which the elections are increasingly expensive. But to take those common sense suggestions and recommendations and to implement them into the law before November. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will conclude my report with that.
Thank you, Election Board Chairwoman Rennie. And for that report, I would just like to make a further comment. I echo the remarks that you gave in your report in regards to the staff and to Mr. Smith on the work that they've done and continue to do on behalf of the voters and taxpayers of Erie County. But I think we would be remiss if we did not thank you as the chair of the election board this year and the members of your election board for the work that you've done as well. So thank you for that and for your continued work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of council that would like to give a report? Vice Chairwoman Clear.
I guess I just wanted to also out loud say that same exact thing to Chairwoman Mary Rennie and Councilwoman Showerman. And also I know that there is another member of the elections board, but I can't even imagine all that you have undertaken with this primary election. And there were a few things taken to court I know that you guys had your hands full, and it was only the three of you working on that. Well, with Doug Smith and of course Nicole in, and so thank goodness for them as well. But wow, I just am so grateful for all you have done in ensuring a safe and fair election. So thank you also from me too. I really mean that.
Thank you for those comments. Any other council members wish to give a report? Okay, seeing none, let's continue to move forward with our agenda. Next on our agenda are old business items A, B, and C, which are items that are tabled. There had not seemed to be any indication from council members or a consensus to move these items off the table this evening. But in transparency to the public, I will ask if there is a motion to remove any of the ordinance or resolutions that are on the table this evening. And seeing none, we'll continue to move forward with our agenda to item D on our agenda tonight, which is a second reading of ordinance number 43. Mr. Smith, could we have that in title only, please?
A second reading of ordinance number 43, 2021, 16th, 2021 general fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $300,776, a new line item for demolition of former PRM East building.
So moved.
Second.
The item was moved by Councilwoman Showerman and seconded by Councilman Schenk. Any comments or questions from members of council? Before we vote on this, this is bringing to the close a long process that council has worked on, sometimes with and sometimes against the administration, but ultimately all of us working together to bring this to a conclusion. I want to thank our former colleague, Carol Lowell, who served on a committee, and also thank Councilman Horton, served on a committee with myself to put together a Pleasant Ridge Manor. I think what ended up becoming the impetus that brought us to this process tonight. But I would be remiss without also recognizing the work of the administration, particularly Brad Hirschman and Chuck Crane for the work that they've done, and also Director of Administration Gary Lee and Jim Sparber. We want to thank them for the continued work and effort and stick-to-itiveness to continue to move this forward tonight. And with that being said, Mr. Smith, could we have a roll call vote, please?
On ordinance 43, Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Again, congratulations for progress at Pleasant Ridge East.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yeah, Madam Vice Chair Claire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda. I would like to move items E. I'm sorry, I lied. Yes, E. I lied. It's in for new business.
Well, we know that you didn't lie, but you just jumped the gun on us. So, but
I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. Thank you. Next on, we're still under old business. And Mr. Smith, this is an item that it appears we're going to table tonight. Should we do a second reading and in title only and then have the motion for a table, or table without the second reading?
I would suggest we have the second reading, and then if there's a appetite after that.
Thank you. Then Mr. Smith, could we have a second reading of ordinance number 44 in title only, please?
A second reading of ordinance number 44, 2021, 2021 Children and Youth Services Fund Budget, revised expenditures of $811,466 for creation of 29 new positions approved in the state's need-based budget.
Mr. Chairman,
Personnel Chairwoman Rennie.
I move that we table this ordinance number 44. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion to table item ordinance number 44 by Councilwoman Rennie and seconded by Councilman Horton. Because it's an item to be tabled, there is no discussion. So Mr. Smith, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Thank you. Next, we have a second reading of ordinance number 45. Mr. Smith, could we have that in title only, please?
A second reading of ordinance number 45, 2021, 17th, 2021 general fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $19,953 for creation of inmate services clerk position at the Erie County Prison.
So moved.
The chair.
I guess, Mr. Smith, if we don't have a second to this, would that then just die without a vote? Can we do it that way if there's not a?
That's correct.
Okay. Then we have a motion for this item, and it appears no second at this time. So then we'll move forward on the agenda. And the ordinance number 45 would fail without being voted in a second, without a second to the motion. Okay, and before we go on to new business, I do want to mention that we did table an item, and we don't have discussion when we table an item, but an ordinance number 44, council feels that we need some time to work with the Office of Children and Youth and the administration in doing more due diligence. And so council is, as chairman of council, I'm going to set up an ad hoc committee to work with OCY and the director, Lana Reese, and the administration. I have asked personnel Chairwoman Rennie to chair that committee, and the Children and Youth Liaison from Council, Councilman Scott Rastetter, and immediate past Chairman of Council, Andre Horton, to also serve on that committee. All have agreed, and Council had come forward with a general outline of expectations and discussion for the administration in those particular items, and encourage working with our solicitor, Tom Tallarico, and our financial advisor, Amy Schwartzfeger, to also participate in the work of that committee. And then the hope would be at the next personnel committee roughly 10 days from now, to potentially have at least an initial report to come back with council. So I just wanted to mention that so the general public is aware of what council's intentions are on this particular item. And with that said, we will move on to new business. And Vice Chairwoman Clear.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I would like to amend the agenda. I would like to, under new business, move B, C, and D to a second reading. I would also like to group together H, I, J, K as one read. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have a motion to amend the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion to amend
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion to amend the agenda by Councilwoman Clear, seconded by Councilman Rastetter. Are there any comments or questions from members of council? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote to amend the agenda?
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Smith, then may we have a first reading of ordinance number 46 in title only, please?
A first reading of ordinance number 46, 2021, comprehensive revision and reenactment of the Erie County Government Administrative Code.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And may we have a second reading of ordinance 47 in title only, please?
Second reading of ordinance number 47, 2021, seventh 2021 Public Health Fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $4,274 for continued mosquito-borne disease control.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. We have the motion by Councilwoman Showerman, seconded by Councilman Shank. Are there any comments or questions from members of council? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
On ordinance 47, Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Smith. May we have a second reading of ordinance number 48 in title only, please?
The second reading of ordinance number 48, 2021, 18th 2021 general fund budget, supplemental appropriation of $40,380 and new line items for remainder of 2020 Department of Justice grant for District Attorney Office.
So move.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Horton, seconded by Vice Chairwoman Clear. Are there any comments or questions from members of council? Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
On ordinance number 48, Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Mr. Smith, may we have a second reading of ordinance number 49 in title only, please?
Second reading of ordinance number 49, 2021, 2021 general fund budget, revised expenditures of $1,000 and creation of temporary staff line in general accounting.
So move. Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Showerman, seconded by Councilman Horton. Are there any comments or questions of members of council? I would just like to make a quick comment on this item as we spoke about at the finance meeting on Thursday. This is a line item that we're creating for training from members of the staff that are planning to retire this year. And with the years of expertise that they have, we know that their services will still be needed as people are put in place, and these people can never be replaced. But as people fill in the positions of those particular jobs, I've said it in the past and will continue to say that the dedication and commitment of the employees and the knowledge and expertise that these employees have had over the years in Erie County, we need to make sure and ensure that we have a transitional period and a transitional plan set up as these members of the staff retire and as they have a willingness to continue to train and educate people who are then are taking the positions that they once had. I believe this is a vital component of Erie County government and a service to the people of Erie County that only those that have that expertise and knowledge can give and can bring. There is a cost to that, but the benefits to it way outweigh any potential cost. And we just need to continue to plan for these types of situations. So with that said, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
On ordinance number 49, Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yeah, excuse me, yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Mr. Smith, may we have a first reading of ordinance number 50 in title only, please?
A first reading of ordinance number 50, 2021. 19th, 2021 general fund budget supplemental appropriation of $44,177 for creation of new position in the district attorney office for domestic violence cases.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And may we now have a reading of resolution number 19 in title only?
Resolution number 19, 2021. Erie County Hospital Authority, $10 million tax exempt obligations, St. Mary's Home of Erie project.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilman Horton, seconded by Councilwoman Clear. Are there any comments or questions from members of council? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Resolution 19, Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Mr. Smith, may we have a reading of the possible appointment to the Library Advisory Board, please? In title only. Which I guess in this case is also its entirety.
The appointment of Quinn Ah to the Erie County Library Advisory Board representing District 7. This is Mrs. Showerman's appointment.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Thank you. We have the motion by Councilwoman Showerman, seconded by Councilwoman Rennie. And if there's no questions or comments, then Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Rennie,
yes.
Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have amended the agenda to include the remaining items as one motion. But Mr. Smith, could you just read the addresses of the parcels individually, and then I would accept a motion as amended to vote on these as one motion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Item H is Franklin Drive, Lot F13, Washington Township. Item I is Grand Street, trailer number 51 in Corey, Pennsylvania. J is Lot 71 on Elm Street, Union City. And K is East 17th Street, lots 4 and 5, City of Erie.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We have a motion by Councilwoman Clear,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Shank. Any other questions or comments from members of council? Seeing none, Mr. Smith, may we have a roll call vote, please?
On the sale of 4 parcels, Mrs. Showerman,
Yes.
Mr. Shank,
Yes.
Mrs. Clear,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. Rastetter,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes.
Chairman Anderson.
Yes. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before council this evening? Let me just mention that our next Finance and Personnel Committee meetings will occur on June 24th at 4 p.m. Via Zoom conference meeting. But then we will begin in-person meetings for the next regular council meeting, which will occur on June 29th at 6 p.m. at the rear entrance to the Andover Bank in Albion. This will begin our traditional council on the road for the summer. Caucus will begin at 5:30. And we thank Councilwoman Showerman for hosting us for the first on the road meeting this year. And with that being said, and no other business to come before council, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Council is adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Right.